Yep, yep. Peace, peace, peace. It's your boy Juice One with another episode of Smoke and Jokes, where we discuss today's topics while indulging in the greatest of herbal essences. Today's show, well, I got a new thing going on. Well, I wanted to talk to you about how they killed the Black Revolution. It's like a 365 days where I'm gonna just be dropping jewels on the tactics that they had used, still using, to keep us from even advancing without believing that we can even advance. You know what I mean? Like the tactics of keeping you as the underling. You know what I mean? So, right now I'm listening to Papa Wu and Wu Revolution. I got my little phone here, so forgive me on that. Um, yeah, so anyway, I was listening to an Ice Cube song, and it's called Us, and I'm actually gonna play it. So hold on a second. I want to listen to this song because this song right here, um, it says a lot. It says a lot about us, like how we can talk about all of the things that's keeping us in a situation on the outside, but we don't look at what's in our circle that's keeping us in that position. You understand what I mean? So this song is like what I always did, like talk about us, me included. You know what I mean? Like I'm not up on any podium. That's why I never really did this. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people who think, you know, I'm a certain type of dude. You know what I mean? And I don't really give a fuck what they think. You know what I mean? Like you wasn't in the trenches for you to there's some people who was right there, but they were just pussy and cowards. You know what I mean? Like they just they just matter of fact, shit, they saw me as the problem. You know what I'm saying? Like motherfuckers was getting in the beast before me, but minute I pop up, they need like like a female. They needed somebody to blame. You know what I mean? So I was the scapegoat for how come problems was happening. Like we could go to a party, any party that everybody else went to, same shootouts. You know what I'm saying? But if I went to a party with motherfuckers, it's yo, Jews got us into a shootout. Like how? Like what about all of them other shootouts? What the fuck was those? Those was everybody else who took us to those parties. I never pointed no finger. You know what I mean? But that's the inner mindset of needing somebody to blame. So that just made me tougher. You know what I'm saying? That just made me tougher. So I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? But I started off um like as a stick up kid. You know what I'm saying? But to be honest with you, I was robbing white people. Like when the Central Park jogger shit came out, I actually was to school with Corey Wise. Me and Corey Wise was classmates. You know what I'm saying? At the time he got arrested. So when he got arrested, people was looking like, oh, they thought it was me. You know what I mean? They thought that I was the one who got arrested because I was known for that. Like I was all through Central Park, all of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Robbing white people. My whole, juvenile record is that. You know what I mean? So this is the kind of music I was listening to. So I can contest that they needed to get rid of the Tupacs and let everybody else try to associate with that. The gay Tupac, the white Tupac, you know what I'm saying, the dead Tupac again, and this, you know what I mean. So everybody right now actually is chasing their Biggie and Tupac moment right now. That's what the whole youth is chasing. They got the cameras. They got the chance to get their little minutes of fame. That's why you got the check-ins and you know what I mean. All of that shit. That's all of that. That that mentality. So let me tell you, like I said, I started off, you know, robbing white people. So, but I grew up in the projects, and people in the projects, you know, they, we youth. So I don't really hold nobody accountable. You understand what I'm saying? Like I don't look at none of the kids in the projects at that time, like because we was really young, like, you know, 10, 11, shit like that. So I don't look at nobody at that age as responsible, but the responsibility of what was placed into the youth. You understand what I'm saying? Is the thing. Now me, I wasn't raised in the projects. I wasn't from there. I moved into there. You understand what I'm saying? So that's strike one. New kid in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Now the environment of the kids I actually was having a beef with originally was trying to hang out with me. You know what I mean? But I didn't shun them off on no like that. I just wasn't that. I just had the appearance of a rough kid, this, that, and the third, but I wasn't soft either. You know what I mean? I was just a regular kid. So I wasn't into running around and starting problems and that type of shit. Not with my people. You know what I'm saying? But I was young. So I wasn't even, on that. I had my own problems. You know what I mean? And it was outside of being in the neighborhood. So I wasn't really thinking that shit. So I really wasn't trying to get into fights and nothing like that myself. Eventually, you know what I mean? Shit, you know what I mean? You just have to start fighting back, whatever the case may be. So I just happen to have two, like, I want to say one and a half nemesis in the projects. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, just we had beef and shit. You know what I mean? Like, the nigga just didn't like me, but he had the whole squad of niggas who were the hoodlums. He came from the hoodlum building. You know what I mean? So me and my niggas, we wasn't on that. I wasn't on it. My dudes wasn't on it. You know what I mean? But like I said, me coming from another environment, a soft environment, for a brief moment. Like I was in a real rough environment, then I turned into a real sweet environment, like skiing and, horseback riding and shit like that to, coming in the hood. So when I came in the hood the second time, my mindset wasn't on that. I was around my grandmoms, you know what I mean? So I wasn't on that um like vibe. Be honest with you, I didn't even understand hip hop at that time. Like this, but this is like Grandmaster Flash, Melly Mel, So one of my boys, um he put me on the hip hop basically because I used to go to his crib. You know what I mean? He lived in the same projects, so I used to go to his crib and listen to all of the joints. This is well, but this is even before Slick Rick. This is like Fat Joe. I mean, not Fat Joe. The Fat Boys. This is like more like the Melly Mel Grit, like like that era, like when it was just coming into the LLs and all of that. It was like that little frame right there, And so I really wasn't into the dang and ball and all of that. That you know what I mean? Like I really wasn't into. I didn't like it was saying nothing to me. So once, like I said, once the LLs and all of that came around, Canes and that whole movement, that was different. You know what I mean? Like then I was fully in it, but originally I just wasn't into it. You know what I mean? So I guess it's easy why for me to fall back, out of it. You know what I mean? As far as cause I had like a very deep love for hip hop. Like I said, the people that I listened to were inspiring. The Cubes and Public Enemies and Parishes. I mean, I can go on and on. Even Professor Griff when he left NWA and like all of these different groups. I'll be here all day. Poor righteous. Like I said, I don't want to not mention nobody, but there was a whole era of real movement. So I, that's what I embrace. You know what I mean? And that's where, I felt like it was a voice, you know. So like I said though, I was also, a stick up kid. You know what I mean? So um I went to like I got kicked out of public school in the fourth grade. You know what I'm saying? Fourth grade, I'm kicked out of public school. PS 46. You know what I'm saying? Kicked out of it. So then I went to like basically like a special school for like basically 5 years, because from the fifth grade to the 10th grade, because my first high school was a 600 school. That was like a in New York, like a 600 school. Like just ask anybody, like, yo, you know about a 600 school? They'll break that all down for you. I was one of those type of kids. Like this is what's the other school, like they call it like last chance, starts with a R, but this is after that. Like this is when you ain't even in the, like I literally was kicked out of public school. You know what I mean? So I'm running with a, like, literally, I hardly ever ran across somebody I went to school with. Like, in a few times that I did, it was in jail. This is the level, mind state. So at this time, I was just like a bad kid. I wasn't really on the criminal activity yet. I just happened to be with some kids in my 600 school, Lewis and Clark, up in the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? So while I was up in there, I was hanging out with some kids, and a robbery took place. It's my first time being in a robbery, so I didn't even know what was happening. We was hanging out. Dudes got on the train, got on the 4 train actually. You know what I'm saying? It started popping on white dudes, boom, 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 snatching um Walkmans and all that type of shit. You know what I mean? So that was my introduction. I didn't even do nothing at that moment. I was just standing there like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, I got off the train with him, and from there, my, exiting that train started a career. You understand what I'm saying? That's just the fact. When I was on that train, you know what I mean? I had an option. Take this to that level, because I wasn't on that level. Not even gonna lie to you, wasn't. I was just a bad kid. You know what I'm saying? But I really wasn't at that level. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't know how to describe it, but I wasn't that type of kid. I was bad though. You know what I mean? Getting in the fights, regular shit. Not, I'm talking and shit like that. You know what I mean? But not that. You know what I mean? So I'll keep it a G with you. When I seen that shit, I stood there like, oh shit. Like, what the fuck is going on here? You know what I'm saying? I got off that train, chose the life and crime, right? Because that's a fact. I got off that train. That was the, like how they always say, life changing moments. I can honestly say that was a life changing moment, and the reason why I'm giving you that life changing moment because it's relevant to the revolution, right? And I'm not saying the part about robbing white people and all of that. I mean the death of it, right? And me and many people in my generation that I've seen. Now, as we, running through Central Park and shit like that, different places. I mean, we was all through Brooklyn and Queens. We didn't really give a fuck. We was just, stick up kids. And like when I say stick up kids at this time I want to say 14, 15. You know what I mean? I want to say then. This is when we just, strong arm and throwing people in yokes and that stupid shit, right? So now, I get one time. Now I get locked up. Now this is the crazy part. I get locked up. We in Central Park. You know what I'm saying? I get locked up for a robbery. Now this robbery, I actually wind up taken all the way to Supreme Court. They was trying to, give me mad time for this. Like at 16, I caught the case at 15. At 16, I'm sitting in, Supreme Court. You know what I mean? So, but that's from, yeah, the first robbery, right? Now I caught that robbery, right? I went to Spofford. right? No, so I'm lying. I was 15 because I want to spot 14 and 15 because I went to spot it. We wound up getting it on and then all that stuff. I'm not even gonna get into all of that. You know what I mean? But the reason why I'm saying that is because the I noticed. Well, no, I'm gonna keep going, right, and then I'm gonna flash back to the first time incarcerated because I was in Spofford. You know what I mean? So I wound up getting out, same dudes, right? And I shouldn't have fucked with these dudes the second time. Again, me being stupid, right? Because when we got locked up, I remember nobody told like, as far as police or anything like that, but um we wound up getting we was in the cells and niggas was making noise and shit like that. And I wind up and no one of them wind up how you say it? Involving like making noise. So the COs came in. The COs came in, the motherfucker blamed me, and I wind up getting popped on, by the CO. I held a little grudge behind that shit. I wound up punching the nigga in the mouth later on some other shit. What I mean? I wanted to get out of there. And then I didn't want it to look like I was bringing up, that sucker shit. So I waited for another situation and rocked them. But, um, so I think that's probably another reason why I was back around that. You know what I mean? I don't know, but I was just in the crime. So like I said, now I'm 16. This is I'm back in public school. You know what I'm saying? I'm in I believe I'm in Stevenson, right? Because that was my first high school, out of the 600 school. So that's why I said I knew Corey Wise because this is when we was in school at this time. So at this now I remember catching another case. Now I'm in the 4 building, right? Now in the 4 building, I run across my project nemesis, him and the half. You know what I'm saying? The half, because the dude, like, we really didn't have like a beef. Like we seen each other, it wasn't like that. You know what I mean? This nigga, when we see each other, I can see the hate in his eyes, and I start getting on point. You know what I mean? Because he just, I don't know. You know what I mean? Um, like I said, I would call him a bully, but the fact that you would never give me a head up. Every nigga, you know what I'm saying? So I can't call that a bully. I call that, like a nemesis because you got a squad with you. So most of my fights, that's why I learned how to fight because most of my project fights were never one on one. You know what I mean? My best fucking fair one would be a 2-on-1. You know what I mean? I remember fighting these 2 dudes. We wound up being cool later. Rest in peace to one of them. But yeah. So the nemesis, we inside the 6 building. No, we in the 4 building, right? And mind you, I'm there for robbing white people. So in my mind, I'm like thinking, this is my first time, in the 6 building, anything like that. So my mind is outside street, like how you run up with you meet up with dudes, y'all clicking and you're bagging, the devils. So once I'm inside, it's like I noticed that love ain't there. It's hate towards each other. You understand what I'm saying? So this no, I'm gonna tell you the nemesis part because that's at the end of me being in this 4 building. So when I first get there, I wind up going into a block, right? I had on some bullshit ass Etonics, some suede ass Etonics, but I remember this Brooklyn nigga coming up to me talking about, yo, what you want to do for those? I'm like, yo, we can go in the bathroom. Like, I didn't know none of that rules of jail of, saying that, but I just, shit, I tell you what, if you can, remember, I've just been through a lot of shit, just even in the projects alone. So, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, nigga, one nigga, I'm gonna rock your stupid ass. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, um, yo, we can go into the bathroom. You take my shit. You beat me. You can have my shit. This man stopped and said, nah, you good, son. You good, right? So now I wasn't sleeping, like on them. You know what I'm saying? Head still on a swivel. So, that night, I remember dudes putting tissue, like it was like a little roll of tissue, like not like a little strip of tissue, and they was putting it on certain people's beds, and I'm looking at niggas like, yeah, put it on mine and shit. You know what I mean? So anyway, they wound up beating, some dudes up at night or whatever, robbing them or stupid shit like that. So the next day I'm going to court, right? Now mind you, I was only in 4 buildings this one time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to court. Now, no. Now inside there, I noticed that they had COs who was letting inmates, lock the cells and shit like that. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? Like, and so at that time, I know it was strange, but I didn't know how to I like to give it an identification. You understand what I'm saying? Then I just like, yo, what the fuck kind of crazy shit is this? And people want that privilege, but I'm knowing that, wait a minute, this is odd. You know what I mean? I'm young, but I know this is odd. You know what I mean? So then I turn around and I go to yeah. So after that, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, so these are the little things that I'm noticing the police are facilitating, running the phones, you know what I mean? Causing conflicts and fights. Literally, I'm gonna say that for another episode where I'm gonna show you cases of the police officers facilitating these conflicts. But what they was really facilitating is neighborhood beefs, borough wars. You know what I mean? Oh, he from here, and cause those beefs. So as they working on your pride. You know what I mean? So you not thinking, wait a minute, you know what I mean? You trying to play me, you trying to use me. And so that's why I'm making this now for the youth. Not really for the adults. I don't really care. You know what I mean? The past is the past. I don't hold no grudges and shit. So for the youth, for you to be aware of what's happening. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, let me switch my my what's name over here. For you to be aware of what's happening to you. Like you don't want to be running around as a tool, somebody using you for their, pleasure. You know what I mean? Like, cause they don't want you here, so they want to see you dead without having to get their hands dirty. So they learned these little tactics, and the easiest people to manipulate would be the youth, right? So, these are the tactics that they was using. So here it is. I wind up in the bullpen, right? The next day I'm going to court. You know what I mean? So again, I got these bullshit ass tonics, but for some reason, this is about to be the biggest importance to everybody there. You know what I mean? So I go into the cell, right? I'm in the Manhattan cell. You know what I mean? This is what I caught my case at. If you know anything about the 6th building, I keep saying the 6th building, the 4th building, you know that they got boroughs. So like wherever you go in the court, like say you go into Brooklyn, you got the Brooklyn cells. You got the Queens, you know what I mean? Like I think Queens and Staten Island was like one cell because there wasn't really a lot of action out that way. Even if you from Queens, you wasn't most likely doing your juxes and all that. You be live niggas in Queens, but they be in Brooklyn or whatever, Staten Island, whatever the case. So I'm not taking anything from nobody. So anyway, I'm wound up in the Manhattan cell, right? Who do I say? My nemesis. It is man, right? So niggas is scheming. Right, some other dudes, not them. So they just sitting there. We just like I'm standing up. They two sitting there. I'm looking at them. You know what I mean? Quick look, not nothing like ice grilling. Just looking at them like it was good. You know what I mean? So I'm standing there, and the nigga had one dude that said something, and the dude, the nemesis. I notice I never name names because like this shit is over. But I call him my nemesis because he was. You know what I'm saying? He turns around and like basically like, yeah, yo, I know him. Yeah, you, if you want to get him, you could get a nigga pussy type shit, like amping it up. Like, yeah, you can get him. You know what I mean? I think the nigga said something about the sneakers, and that's when all of that happened. Like, oh man, you could rob that nigga, he pussy type shit. And I was like, word. So 3 niggas came to me. You know what I mean? I wound up scrapping, boom, swinging on niggas, boom, boom, right? Nothing major happened. The police came, take us out, asked what happened. I'm like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know nothing. Dead ass. Dead ass. You know what I'm saying? So, one dude answered. Now, I think it was the second dude who said some shit like, oh, he was messing with us. You know, if you know anything about, you know, the juvies, you know these COs, man, they handle you. You know what I mean? So he wound up slapping them. You know what I'm saying? Told him to go back in the cell. Told me to go to another cell. Which cell you? Now, mind you, I ain't gonna ask you, nigga. They sent me in the Brooklyn cell. You know what I'm saying? They sent me in the Brooklyn cell. And like I said, now mind you, this whole time, my mind is not beefing with the people. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna change my mind in a matter of 30 seconds and shit. Like, you know what I mean? So when I get into the Brooklyn cell, I'm standing there again. You know what I mean? And I hear niggas, you know, calling over. Hey, yo, get that nigga. Da, 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 da. So one of the dudes look over and he goes, he looks at me, right? Then he taps his man with his foot. His man is laying on the floor, right? He taps him with his foot. His man yo, you want some new kicks? He, swear to God, the nigga looks over at me. Oh shit. Yo, he looks over at me and says, yeah, I'll take it. Right? So in my mind, I'm like, oh man, here we fucking go again. You know what I mean? No. Yeah. Okay. So I'm like, yeah, man, here we go again with the bullshit. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to prepare myself to cop a plea. This is a big dude. Like, this is a big fat motherfucker and shit. So I'm trying to prepare myself to cop a plea. I'm keeping a G with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, listen, man. I'm thinking to myself, how the fuck am I gonna get out of this? Right? So, the nigga turns around, he gets up. Like I said, he gets up, I'm looking at him. So I'm like, yo, I'm like, he said, what you want to do for those? I said, yo, man, listen, I just got it through it all. He said, I'm not even trying to hear that shit. What can I do, right? You know what I'm saying? So I braced myself. Boom, he swings, right? I duck. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, at this time, you gotta remember, man, I was fighting. You know what I'm saying? I was begging out. I wasn't one of them, you know, gun busters. I was knuckle gaming. You know what I mean? So I didn't have a problem with scrapping. I was just like anybody who know me growing up would tell you that, like, yo, that nigga don't care, man. He bugged out. You know what I'm saying? So like scrapping would not have been a problem to me. You know what I mean? And I was new to this jail system. You know what I mean? This is only the second time I've ever been incarcerated. The Spofford, now this. You know what I mean? So, and now this is where I go back to the Spofford part. Now, being in Spofford and winding up into the fight in there, I think I should have been prepared for a hating ass, you know, the hate within our community to pour on you. Because I'm going to give you the lesson after, right? So, here we go. We're in the Brooklyn cell. I try to, you know, give a little scrap. I wound up ducking, holding him till the cops come. Oh shit. Yeah, I said it. You know what I'm saying? I held him till the cops come, motherfucker. Right? It was quick though, because the Brooklyn cell was literally right there in front of the bubble. So it wasn't. That's why I was amazed that these motherfuckers just trying to rob me right in front of the fucking bubble. You know what I mean? So I wound up getting sent over to the Queens cell. Now as I'm sitting there, right, it's me and another dude, little skinny motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there and some two dudes walk in the cell. Two dudes walk in the cell. Now these two dudes walk in the cell, right? And and you can hear, the Brooklyn cell, the Manhattan cell, yelling over to this cell like, yo, get him, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So they looking around, they see the other dude. They took it upon themselves to think it was him that they were talking about. So they wound up popping on him. I felt bad. Because I watched it happen, knowing that it, the conflict was for me. I felt bad. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I wasn't there to engage in self-hate. I wasn't there for that shit. I was there already just because, I wasn't there for that. So, next thing you know, they yelled, they're like, yeah, we got him. So I'm standing there looking like, yeah, all right. If you know me, you know I'm an asshole. So, I'm just looking at it like, yeah, all right, yeah, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But this time I just came out of a Harlem cell, a Manhattan cell that was mad deep because, Manhattan, especially in the 80s, was crime infested. So Manhattan was like infested with Brooklyn, Queens, and Manhattan niggas. You know what I'm saying? Or um, in there. But then you got like the Brooklyn dudes, like I said, they got their hotel and that shit is deep. If you know anything about Brooklyn niggas, especially in the fucking 80s, man, nigga. Have you seen the squad less than 20 deep? Shit. You was lucky. You know what I'm saying? Like Brooklyn, a whole party would be, you know what I'm saying? Like you could fill a whole party with Brooklyn squad of robbers. So you already know how that go. You know what I mean? Hold on. I think I got a delivery. I got to end this. Pardon me. I'll come back.